Hey there. As you all now know, I'm Newton, and how much I love apples. But today, I am going to explain you what are tariffs, why Trump's threats everyone with tariffs, and what actually happens when they put tariffs. So let's dive in. A foreign country does not walk into an American store, slap 12 cents on the counter, and say, "Here is your tariff money." That is not how this works. When the United States puts a tariff on an imported product, an American importer usually sends the first payment to U.S. Customs. But that does not mean the importer carries the final cost. By the time the bill finishes bouncing through factories, warehouses, stores, workers, and shoppers, the person paying may be you. Or maybe not, because tariffs are less like a single tax bill and more like an economic game of hot potato, with one extremely overpriced apple. Newton owns a tiny apple shop in Virginia. His best-selling apple comes from a farmer overseas. The farmer charges the importing company $1 per apple. Life is peaceful. Newton sells the apple for $1.50. Customers are happy, Newton is happy, and somehow the wig is still perfectly powdered. Then a customs officer appears at the border holding a giant stamp. Tariff. The government adds a 10% tariff bill. Who hands the money to customs first? The American importer. In our simplified example, a $1 apple now creates a 10-cent tariff bill. The importer has several choices. He can absorb the 10 cents, he can demand a discount from the foreign farmer, he can charge Newton more, or he can stop importing that apple completely. Newton sees the new invoice and gasps. $1.10 for fruit? This apple has not even invented gravity. But here is the real question. When Newton raises the shelf price, did the foreign country pay the tariff? No. The tariff began at the border. The cost is only beginning its journey. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. Legally, the importer of record is generally responsible for paying the duty to customs. The foreign government does not mail the check. But economics asks a different question from accounting. Accounting asks, who sent the payment? Economics asks, whose wallet became lighter after everyone adjusted?
Imagine 4 possible victims of Newton's 10-cent tariff. Victim number 1, the foreign farmer. The importer says, "Lower your price from $1 to 95 cents, or I will buy apples somewhere else." If the farmer agrees, the farmer absorbs 5 cents through a smaller profit. Victim number 2, the importer. Maybe the importer keeps paying $1 for the apple, pays 10 cents to customs, and accepts a smaller profit. Victim number 3, Newton shop. The importer charges Newton an extra 10 cents, but Newton fears losing customers. So Newton raises the shelf price by only 5 cents and absorbs the rest. Victim number 4, the customer. Newton raises the apple from $1.50 to $1.60, and the shopper pays the full increase. Usually, the answer is not one victim. The burden can be divided among several people and businesses. What decides the split? Competition, profit margins, exchange rates, existing contracts, available substitutes, how badly buyers want the product, and whether Newton's customers will accept a 60-cent banana instead. They will not. This channel has branding standards.
But that creates a much bigger problem. A government can announce a tariff today while the price effect arrives slowly, unevenly, and in places nobody expects. Let us make Newton's orchard slightly more realistic. His imported apple arrives in a wooden crate, travels on a ship, sits in a refrigerated warehouse, and reaches the store by truck. The tariff may apply directly to the apple, but tariffs can also hit packaging, machinery, fertilizer, electronic parts, steel, or other materials used by American businesses. Now, one tax at the border can travel through several companies. The importer raises Newton's wholesale price. Newton asks customers for more money. Some customers buy fewer apples. Newton orders fewer crates.
The importer buys less from the overseas farmer. The farmer reduces production or searches for another market. Meanwhile, an American apple farmer sees imported apples becoming more expensive and says, "At last, my moment." Domestic production may rise.
That is one reason governments use tariffs. They may want to protect domestic industries, encourage local production, reduce dependence on foreign suppliers, punish unfair trade practices, or gain leverage in negotiations. Sounds brilliant, right? Well, not exactly. The American farmer may use imported fertilizer, machinery, packaging, or replacement parts. If those inputs face tariffs, his costs rise too. Newton tries to escape by buying only American apples. Then the American farmer looks at the expensive imported competition and realizes he can raise his own price without losing as many customers. Plot twist. A tariff can raise the price of the imported apple and create room for the domestic apple price to rise too. That will not happen equally in every market, but it explains why saying, "I will just buy American," does not automatically erase the cost. There is also a delay. Newton may already have 3 months of apples sitting in a warehouse, purchased before the tariff. He can keep the old shelf price temporarily. Long-term contracts may not reset until next quarter.
Companies may absorb costs while they watch their competitors. Then the cheaper inventory disappears. The new invoices arrive. Prices begin climbing, shelf by shelf. So when someone says, "The tariff started last week and prices did not explode, therefore nobody paid it," Newton raises one finger. Remember the warehouse. Now let us leave Newton's suspiciously organized orchard and enter the real United States. Recent tariff actions have included different rates for different countries and products, along with exemptions for selected goods. That means you cannot take every imported product in America and simply add the same percentage. Some products may be exempt. Some already face other duties. Some companies have inventory purchased earlier. Some importers can switch suppliers. Some foreign sellers may reduce their prices. Some businesses will absorb costs temporarily. Others will pass them forward. And some products may disappear because importing them is no longer profitable. Earlier United States trade research found that for many products affected by previous tariff rounds, American importers carried most of the immediate cost at the border. But that still does not tell us who carried the final burden. Importers are businesses. They are not magical money caves. They may pass costs to retailers, accept lower profits, renegotiate with suppliers, redesign products, reduce investment, hire fewer workers, or leave the market. Different studies can produce different estimates because they examine different products, tariffs, time periods, and supply chains. But the broad lesson stays the same. The foreign country does not simply pay America from a giant national checking account. The American importer usually makes the customs payment first. Then, the economic burden is negotiated through prices, profits, wages, sourcing decisions, and consumer behavior. And here is the hidden truth. Asking who pays the tariff sounds like a question with one name as the answer. It is actually 2 questions. Who pays the government? Usually the importer of record. Who ultimately becomes poorer because of the tariff? That depends. A foreign producer may lose profit. An American importer may lose profit. A retailer may lose profit. A worker may lose hours or job opportunities. A consumer may face higher prices. A domestic producer may gain sales. And the government collects revenue. Supporters may argue that the cost is worthwhile if a tariff protects an important industry, reduces dependence on a risky supplier, discourages abusive labor practices, or creates negotiating pressure. Critics may argue that the cost damages consumers and businesses, invites retaliation, and protects inefficient industries. Both sides are looking at real trade-offs. One American factory may celebrate because foreign competition becomes more expensive. Another American factory may stare at a higher materials bill,
and whisper words unsuitable for an educational cartoon.
So the honest answer is not foreigners always pay. It is also not consumers always pay every penny. The most accurate answer is this. The importer pays the legal bill first. The market decides how the economic pain is divided, and the side with fewer alternatives usually has less power to escape it. Back at the shop, Newton places one tariff coin on a balance scale. On the opposite side stand the foreign farmer, importer, retailer, worker, and shopper. The scale wobbles because the cost is being shared, shifted, delayed, and hidden. Newton finally attaches a label. Paid at the border by the importer, paid in the economy by whoever cannot pass it on. That is the takeaway. A tariff is not free money collected from another country. It is a policy tool that can protect industries, raise government revenue, pressure trading partners, and reshape supply chains. But somebody absorbs the cost.
Sometimes that somebody is overseas. Sometimes it is an American company. Sometimes it is the person standing in a store, wondering why the same apple suddenly needs financing. Newton has reached his verdict. Tariffs are economic hot potatoes. Just make sure you know whose hand is burning. So, who do you think should absorb the largest part of a tariff? The foreign producer? The importer? The retailer? Or the shopper? Tell Newton in the comments. Please subscribe.